Hi, I'm Alana, the Major Mochaccino. Morgan and I decided to do some vlogs because Morgan, our wonderful video editor, is currently without her software. For those of you who don't know me from Morgan or Morgan from me, I'm the owner of Mooney, the little buckskin filly, and Pistolani, my chestnut gaming and ranch horse. Anyway, this video is kind of personal, but I wanted to share it anyway. For the past few months, I've been suffering from severe daily headaches, ringing ears, fatigue, etc. We thought this was possibly post-concussion syndrome from a recent accident I had involving tubing slides, water slides, yeah, only me. Um, so we decided to get it checked out to be safe. Shortly after my first doctor visit, I began blacking out, which led to me losing the job I had just started at a horse ranch because clearly, well, passing out and horses don't really mix for safety reasons. So I started having some more tests. I had CT scans, blood work, ECGs, Holter monitors, all that jazz. And all that came up normal, so they didn't know what was wrong with me. Then I had my first EEG. And for those of you who don't know, it's where they connect electrodes to your head, and then they connect you to a computer. And the point of the EEG is to read your brain waves. So they'll do various tests to try to trigger abnormalities, like they have you stare at a strobe light to see how that affects you, and they do some hyperventilation and a sleep test to see, if you have irregular brain waves. So anyway, we got the results from that, and there was an abnormal finding, but it wasn't clear. My neurologist thought that it could have been an epilepsy spike, but he wasn't sure, so he told me to just go on as I was, and he'd do a couple more EEGs, sleep deprived this time, to see if anything else came up. So I basically went on as I did before. I'm 19, and for those of you who don't know, in BC, that's when you're legal drinking age. So my friend had just turned 19 and we were going out to the bar to celebrate, and I'm somewhat of a lightweight. My limit's usually like 3 or 4 drinks, but I got a little bit more intoxicated than that. And anyways, our night ended with me having a seizure by the bathroom floor. A full-blown grand mal tonic-clonic seizure. The one night I decided to wear a dress out. Yeah, I had 3 bouncers holding me down because I was thrashing so violently, I'm told. And you're not supposed to hold someone having a seizure down because it can cause them to tear muscles, which I did, and I could hardly walk for like 2 days after, let alone ride my horse. Anyways, so I left the bar basically in an ambulance. I haven't been to the bar since, but that kind of gave us our answer that I did in fact have something more wrong with me than we thought. So then I went in for my other EEGs. My second one came up fairly normal, but my third one showed quite a few epileptic spikes. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And this is fairly new for me still. I think I was only diagnosed like a month ago. And epilepsy is kind of difficult. Like, for those of you who don't know what it is, it causes you to have, or to be prone to seizures. So things that might not affect a regular person affect me greater. Like, I can't get sleep deprived. Clearly, I cannot drink a lot. I probably shouldn't be drinking at all. Stress can be a trigger. If you're really stressed, it does not go over well with an epileptic person who has that as a trigger. Missed meals also aren't good because your blood sugar gets low. So anyway, I started medication. They started me on Lamictal, and Lamictal is a good medication. It has very few side effects, except for one, which is basically a life-threatening rash that you can develop. So I was 2 weeks in. I had like no side effects. My headaches were gone. I hadn't had a seizure, and then I started breaking out in a rash. We don't believe it was the life-threatening rash, but we had to quit it nonetheless. It was probably just an allergic reaction to the drug. So soon I'll be started on probably Topamax, also known as Dopamax, because some people who take it become kind of slow. So I'm not looking forward to the side effects of that one. Anyway, the types of seizures I have had absent seizures, myoclonic seizures, and an atonic seizure, which is where you just drop. The myoclonic seizures, like you'll get kind of little jumps in your muscles, and absent seizures, you'll just like stare off for a few seconds, and most people don't even notice. But my big one is the tonic-clonic seizures, which is where you drop, lose consciousness, and convulse. Some people wet themselves. I luckily didn't that night in the bar because, God, that was humiliating enough as it was. You bite up your tongue pretty good. I bite the inside of my cheek or just grind my teeth hard. So, yeah, and there are other types of seizures too. The ones that I listed are all generalized seizures, which affects your whole brain. I have generalized idiopathic epilepsy. There's also partial seizures, and partial seizures only affect a part of your brain. So there are simple partials which, the person doesn't lose consciousness, but they get like a weird feeling of deja vu, and they just feel spaced out and whatnot. Then there's a complex partial seizure, which they do lose consciousness, but someone who's watching them doesn't think so. They can appear as though they're impaired. They'll walk around, and some will have like mindless movements. They don't know what they're doing, so people who have these seizures like need to be directed away from highways and stuff because they have no idea what they're doing. So yeah. The correct response to somebody having like a tonic-clonic seizure, also known as grand mal, is to move anything that could hurt them out of their way so that they don't bash themselves against it when they're convulsing. Put something soft under their head, turn them onto their side. They cannot swallow their tongue, so do not stick anything in their mouth. People have had their fingers bit off that way. It's impossible to swallow your tongue. You can't even try to do it. Sorry, it just bothers me that that's what people think of. So yeah, and you just have to let them finish the seizure. Someone should time it because if they are seizing for more than 5 minutes, an ambulance should be contacted, or if they stop seizing and then go into another seizure, an ambulance should be contacted then as well, because that can be dangerous. So how epilepsy is affecting me? Well, I cannot drink anymore. I could probably have one or two, but I'm pretty afraid of risking it again. As you can imagine, getting on my horse is like even more sketchy than ever before. Horses are a big enough risk as it is, and now every time I get on my horse, I have to worry about possibly having a seizure. Yeah, like, really? So I've started wearing a helmet whenever I ride because it would be bad enough to fall off having a seizure without a helmet, so I at least want to protect my noggin somewhat. I never used to wear a helmet. I used to wear a cowboy hat or a baseball cap or nothing, but better safe than sorry. It's summertime here. I'm not supposed to swim because if I had a seizure when no one was around, I could drown. I'm not allowed to take baths. I can only shower because now I could, die drowning in the bathtub, which is actually really a scary thought. 1 in 100 people have epilepsy, so it's kind of rare, but not as rare as you'd think. The scary part about it is as many people who die from breast cancer in a year will die from seizure-related causes as well. And epilepsy does not have a lot of notice as much as breast cancer and diabetes and whatnot, considering the amount of death that can happen. I mean, they consider deaths related to epilepsy rare, but when you think about the amount of people who die from breast cancer and that's the amount of people who die from seizure-related deaths, that's actually quite high and a little bit scary. And there is no cure for epilepsy. Some people who start taking meds will gradually not have seizures anymore and can go off their meds, but it's kind of always there, and you have to be careful. So yeah, my neurologist said that I can start meds now, and well, now my new meds, and if I'm seizure free within 3 to 5 years, we might be able to slowly take me off of it and see how I do. I can't drive for 6 months until I'm seizure free. So yeah, it's kind of a bombshell, but there's nothing we can do about it. I just wanted to alert people about it. Anyways, I understand that this video is getting quite long, so I'll end it, but I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. Thanks for watching.